Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up your Journey Loom so it's ready to weave on, and then also just show you a couple simple tools and tricks that can be helpful for setting this up. So in the frame here, you can see everything that your Journey Loom comes with. It's got the sidebars and then these top two pieces for the actual loom, and then it's got a beater and then two pickup sticks. So first things first, let's put this thing together. So pretty simple. These guys sit up like so. And then this piece with the nails in it, you want it so that the nails are facing down like this and that these individual ones are on the bottom of the loom. So we'll just slide this into this notch here like so. And then this guy will slide into this notch as well, like Lincoln logs. So I've got the nails set up here on the bottom, and then the top piece, we'll set it in again so the nails are along the top there. And then this next part's optional. If we flip our loom over, and I'm just keeping pressure on the top pieces so it doesn't all fall apart, we can put a spring in here on these nails. I know some of the later ones came with a spring, some of them don't. If you don't have a spring and you want to tension this, you can use a rubber band to kind of grab all four of those nails on the back. But I've got my spring there and now it is not going anywhere. And we're ready to string this up. So let me grab a couple more materials and we'll get ready to string our loom up so it's ready to weave. All right, so I've got my Journey Loom assembled here and I've grabbed some relatively thin, I have some cotton yarn here. So you want something that doesn't have a stretch. So if I tug on it, there's not a lot of give there. And that's what we're gonna use for our warp or to string this guy up. So the first thing I'm gonna do, let's get close on the top here. I'm gonna just take my string and I'm just gonna give it a simple tie on this first nail. There we go. And then I'm going to take my string and go down to the bottom nail here and wrap around. And then we're going to go back up and wrap around the next nail here. And then I'm going to go down and around, up and around, down and around, up and around. And there's not too many nails here, so this shouldn't take you too long. You just want to keep going up and around, catching the nails one by one. And then, great. Back to here. And so I'm gonna just give my loom a snip here and just give this a basic tie. Oh, and it's got a lot of plies in it, so. And I'm just kind of tugging on it so it doesn't lose a bunch of tension on the string. There we go. We've got our loom all set up and ready for us to weave. So I've gathered a couple of tools here. We've of course got our beater and our pickup sticks that come with our loom, but I'm also going to be using these wooden tapestry needles from Knitter's Pride. I just like how big the eye is on them, as you can see here. It really just lets you get any thickness of yarn in there for weaving. And so I've also just got some fun little yarn bits here, some leftovers from other projects, and try to get some various textures, which I think is probably the most fun part about weaving. So I'm going to set mine up vertically like so, and let's start with this bright red. And I'm going to just thread my tapestry needle. And then you can, if you'd like, take your pickup stick and you're basically whichever I'm just going to do a simple like 1 under, 1 over, 1 under, 1 over. But you know, you're welcome to do 1 over, 2 under, 1 over, 2 under. But I'm just going to take my pickup stick and go 1 by 1 to make my life easier. So basically I just go under 1, over 1, under 1 for the whole way with the cross. And that way, once I have this will just kind of live in here. I can turn this up and it'll create a nice path for my needle to pass through for when I'm weaving without having to kind of 1 by 1 pick. Now for the back pass, you're gonna have to do that. So I'm just gonna go over, under, and I'm trying to do the opposite. So see on this string, I went under on the first row or pass. On this one, I'm gonna go over. So over, under. And so this tapestry needle just really helps keep it moving a little quicker than it normally would if you were kind of having to, you know, pick each of these open. Okay. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep this started. So you can see that there's a big gap. And so instead of going in and pushing in with my finger, I'm just gonna take the beater that comes with it and I'm just gonna give it a gentle tap. And then go back the other way. But since we've got our handy dandy pickup stick, the other way is a lot easier. I can just pass through. Give it a good little beating like so. And I'll just weave up and in and out, up and down for a little minute and then switch it up. All right, I've done a couple of left and right passes of this orange yarn. I did realize that I missed this nail when stringing it up to show you guys, but as you can see, it is weaving up fine. It is no big deal. You don't have to use all of the nails across. You can just use a few in the center. You can skip some if you'd like, and it'll just change the look of your weaving a little bit. And another thing that I am trying to do when I weave is I'm trying not to pull this too tight. If I pull too tight, you can see that the sides start to get cinched in, and I'm trying to avoid that. I'm trying to keep it a little bit straighter. You can, of course, if you'd like it tight, weave it tight. Just try to be consistent through your whole thing. So I am done with this orange. And I'm just going to let it hang there for a while. I might want to pick it back up later. And let's add a new texture. Here's some leftover yarn we have from a sample in the shop. So this is a really fun texture. And I'm just going to try to play with that. So I'll just do a stripe across here. Oh, and you see that I did a right pass over it. So you can see how these stripes match each other. I didn't do over, under, over, under. That's okay. I'm not going to undo it. If you want to, you can, but I'm not going to. And I'm just going to keep stringing this up. So I've made some progress on my little mini weaving, and I just wanted to show you another simple weaving technique before we finish our project off. And so you can see that I'm adding this new color, this pink, in right now. And instead of doing an over, under, over, under, over, under pattern, I'm sure this has a name. I'm certainly no weaving expert, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to start wrapping around the strings in the warp. So I started doing the technique right here, and as you can see, they're kind of like little bumps rather than this smooth fabric that the over under technique creates. So as you can see, I'm coming out of this here. So now I'm just going to go behind two and pull my yarn through. I don't want to catch any of these ends, and there's a lot of them right now, so I'm trying to get all that out of the way. we go. And then, so it's coming out right here in this gap. So I'm going to go over 1 to the right and then go behind 2. There we go. It's coming out of this gap here. So I'm going to go 1 over and behind 2. And that's just a little different way of weaving. Like I said, I am certainly no weaving expert, but this is one of the very few things that I do know is this sort of other technique of creating fabric. So yeah, I'm just gonna do a couple more colors and textures till I get about here, and then I'll show you how to free our project from the loom. All right, so I've completed my little weaving here and I'm ready to get it off of my loom. So first things first is I'm gonna try to beat my whole piece towards the center away from these edges. So at the top, I'm gonna take the beater and I'm just gonna beat it down like so. And then I'm gonna do the same thing to the other side, like that. So we've got some space here. And then I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna snip them off. You wanna use probably sharper scissors than I'm using. Let's try these ones. Those are better. And I'm just gonna snip these one by one, as close to the nail as I can get, which, you know, I might not be able to get that close. If you want longer, if you want like a longer tassel here, you'll just start weaving higher up on the frame. And then this part, since it's loose, you can probably just lift it. You're gonna need to cut where we tied onto the nail. So cut there, and then I'll cut there. And then we are off the loom. Here's our little weaving, and then I'm just gonna go through and I'm just gonna tie these ends here. Just a little square knot like so. It's a tedious work. Ooh, actually, as you can see, the yarn that I use for my warp is actually a bunch of different thin pieces of cotton loosely spun together. So I might use like a needle or something to keep all of these ends together. There we go, I've knotted one there. And I'll just knot them, and then we've got our little funky weaving. So I hope that you have fun using this new interesting and kind of unique tool. You know, you can definitely just make a cute little weaving. It's named the Journey Loom so that you can go on a trip and take it with you. So maybe you go on a hike and you pick up some grasses or something and you weave that in, or you have a little piece of fabric you find, and it's just to make a little memento of the day that you decided to weave this. Hope that helps, and I hope you enjoy your brand new Journey Loom.